actually one of my best friends has also read it and loved it, and she reads quite a bit of non-fiction, so I feel like maybe it's just actually a really good book. So this is a collection of essays by John Green, just musing on aspects of human nature and things that humans do or have caused or have created, and kind of the meanings behind them and what they mean to him, and I just loved it. I loved the tone of the book. It talks about some kind of darker aspects of humanity, I guess, things like climate change and pandemics and things that could provoke anxiety, but John Green just writes about them in quite an optimistic way, which I love. And yeah, just very hopeful and thoughtful. There were some amazing quotes. Yeah, I loved them. I should have written them down, but I've now given the book to my friend. I also really have a feeling I've talked about this book in a wrap-up before. Maybe it was in my TBR, to be fair. Sorry if I've already wrapped this book up. But, yeah, there was one quote about how disease will only treat humans equally when human social orders treat humans equally. Which, chef's kiss. And I guess a lot of his experiences with anxiety and depression I could relate to, and he had some really good insight into that. And then just some like really random niche stuff that you just learn fun facts about, which I also love. I think I'm a very enthusiastic person and I will find anything interesting, and this book was perfect for that. Just like finding out random facts, especially there was quite a bit about space related things, and I love space. And also I think as this book was very American, like quite a lot of the essays were geared towards things I would consider quite American, and we don't really have here. But that was also interesting insight into American culture, I guess. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. John Green has such a good writing style. It's very engaging. is an astronaut, or in training to become an astronaut, and her love story with one of the other astronauts, and also her kind of just her life. She has quite a tumultuous relationship with her sister, and she does a lot for her niece, and also just kind of Joan coming into herself and her confidence. I love that aspect to the story. I love the relationship. It's sapphic, so I didn't realise that at first, and then as soon as you read the prologue you realise, but like I was like, I love it. There's nothing better than lesbians in space. So yeah, I love Joan and Vanessa. In a way that I never really clicked with Evelyn and Celia from Seven Husbands. But yeah, I love Joan and Vanessa. The writing was beautiful. I love the space aspects. I've always just liked space, I guess, and I was a major space fanatic when I was little. I used to have like multiple handmade solar system models and posters and all sorts. So I love that aspect, and I had been really excited earlier in the year when the Artemis 2 went round the moon, so that kind of put me in the mood anyway, and I was like, oh, I love it. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I would highly recommend. I don't really know what genre I'd put it in. Historical fiction, kind of. I wouldn't quite call it a romance, but also it's not literary fiction, maybe. I don't know. Kind of towing the line between those three. But it fits with other Taylor Jenkins Reid books. Kind of historical glamour. Okay, you're getting a lot of Kindle tapping in this video. Then the next book I read was an audio, so we're going to carry on tapping on the Kindle. And that was How to Fake It in Society by K.J. Charles. So this is another queer historical romance, but this one's set further back in Regency, England. I think it was England. Yeah, I'm sure it's London. And this book follows, what was his name? I can't remember the main character's name. I feel like it was Titus, but that's kind of a ridiculous name. No, I think it was Titus. And he is a shopkeeper and accidentally one day stumbles his way into a fortune, and then it's him trying to navigate society with this newly acquired fortune. And then there's the other main character called Nico is in need of the fortune and is trying to work out how to get what he needs out of Titus, but he has a lot of secrets, and yeah, so he agrees to help Titus kind of fit in with society. So yeah, it's really fun. It's like a historical rom-com. I really like K.J. Charles. I feel like she is my queer historical romance comfort author. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I would say I'd give it 4 stars. 4 stars. It's not my favourite of her books, but it was a really fun time. I'm trying to think what my favourite of her books is. I definitely will have a favourite. just thought of a book I didn't include in my DBR. Oh well. Okay, now we can finally move on from the Kindle tapping. It's good though, I love it. And the last book I read was The Penguin Book of Penguins, which is another non-fiction about penguins. Actually, it was about seagulls. So this is just a non-fiction book about penguins and all the different species of penguin and their habitats, and they're also a bit about their kind of role in society, a human's connection to penguins, historically, how humans have exploited them basically, and the impacts that climate change is having on the different species, some more than others. Yeah, it's very biological. I would have said, threw me right back to those biology A-level days. It's funny because I would have said a lot of biology A-level, which is, I don't know what another country's equivalent is. A-levels are like what you do with 16 to 18, so it's a bit more specialised. It's not the correct term, but you just study in a bit more depth than you do like in the earlier years of secondary school, and you do less subjects. So like I only did 4 A-levels type thing. Anyway, a lot of biology A-level is ecology, so stuff like this. Whereas I was someone that wanted to do medicine, so at the time I was like, no, give me all the stuff about the human body. But actually, I quite like ecology now. Maybe I've had enough of medicine and I'm like, give me the ecology facts. But yeah. Anyway, this book was really good. It was very cute. It was very informative. I feel like it was probably quite basic, so if you're already someone that knows a lot about penguins, you probably wouldn't get too much out of it. But as someone that